You was a fan, nigga. You begged us, you were a fan, nigga. A fan.
I mean, he was doing music a long time and things like that, but it was a pivotal moment where before he got signed, them 2 years was very crucial to everything that we did together in his journey of becoming who Cam is.
Do you remember how we met? Pause, not met, how you got cool with us? Basically, you heard our freestyles. Yo, man, I heard the freestyles, y'all killing shit.
There wasn't times where Cam had to do what he had to do to make $1 and things like that, but from the beginning, I always had to make $1 because I always been on my own.
Yeah.
I've raised my whole family since I was a teenager. I used to hustle and get my mom's money, you heard it. My first job in this thing was a hype man for Cam. You know what I mean? But I started as Cam partner. We came in this mission wholeheartedly. I knew what my job was. He knew what his job was.
What was your job?
My job was to make sure nothing happened to that man while he was trying to be successful, because I knew that if he be successful, then he's gonna turn around and make him successful. And that's exactly what happened.
Even the interviewer looked uncomfortable, trying to steer the convo away from Harlem gossip, but Jim kept doubling down. He said, "I'm just saying not everybody who talked tough was tough. Some people grew up around real dudes and borrowed the aura." That one line set the comment section on fire. Fans started dragging Jim, saying he was projecting his own insecurities because, let's be real, out of all three, Jim's the one who's always felt like he had something to prove. See, this isn't new. Jim's been throwing shade at Mase and Cam on and off for years, ever since Dipset fell apart. Back in the day, all three were pillars of Harlem's sound. Mase had the smooth mainstream hits, Cam had the business mind and style, and Jim was the muscle, the loud voice, the street rep. But over time, the power shifted. Mase became respected again through his honesty and growth. Cam turned into a media mogul, and Jim, he's still arguing about who's real Harlem. It's like he's stuck trying to prove something that nobody's questioning anymore. And now, these new comments might be the last straw, because Mase and Cam don't need to say much to make him look foolish. Their success already does that for them.
You was not there, man. You wasn't there. You were fanned out and you begged us to come to your house after you heard all these mixtapes. That's how you got in.
I'm extremely happy today. I'm extremely happy of what I've accomplished, who I've become, what I've overcame, what I have the ability to do.
Mase actually taught you how to rap, literally. He taught you how to rap.
Mase taught me how to rap.
You say it.
Whenever I do my interviews, I'm very real with myself. You know what I mean? Like, I know the whole playing field.
We taught you how to rap. How you ran the whole organization.
People get this picture painted like I'm from the real bottom with nothing. I've been traveling on the train since I've been 8 and 9. I've been telling people this for years. Like, I'm a real anomaly. Like, I'm different in New York City. I was a man long before I was supposed to be a man.
Get out of here.
How you made Diplomat? Yeah, you ain't make none of this stuff. You was a fan. So you gonna sit around and act like you been around all this Harlem and everything. You ever see somebody from Harlem try to act like they from Harlem so bad that you gotta keep saying, I'm from Harlem? From Harlem know who's from Harlem. You don't have to keep saying you from Harlem.
The crazy part is, fans saw this coming. Every time Mase and Cameron make a move together, Jim Jones seems to pop up with a little shade or a random Harlem speech. This new rant was no different. When asked about It Is What It Is, Jim said, "It's cool they doing something positive, but let's not act like they ever did anything for the city." Now that line had people laughing, because if there's anyone who put Harlem on the map outside of Big L, it's Mase and Cam. Mase had the world in a chokehold in the late 90s. His sound defined an era, clean but slick, mixing church boy calm with street energy. Cam carried Harlem through the 2000s, creating an entire movement with Dipset. The pink fur, the slang, the swagger, that was all Cam. Jim might have played a part, but Cam was the architect. So when he tries to talk down on them, it sounds like rewriting history. And that's what got fans mad. They said, "Jim keeps acting like he built Harlem alone, stop it." People started pulling up old interviews where Jim used to praise both Mase and Cam, calling them mentors, calling Cam a visionary. But somewhere down the line, the jealousy started to creep in. Maybe it was Dipset's breakup. Maybe it was Mase linking back with Cam and leaving Jim out. But something clearly snapped. You can tell he's been holding on to resentment for years. When Mase and Cam caught wind of Jim's latest rant, they didn't even bother saying his name. They just laughed it off on their show. Mase joked, "Some people mad because they can't get a seat at the table." And Cam added, "We busy making money, not excuses." That was all it took. The internet went wild, calling it the smoothest clapback ever. Fans said they cooked him without even cooking him.
What you think Cam gonna do? You think he just gonna sit there and you think he gonna and Jim, basically Jim rhymed first. You know what I mean? Well, actually Cam and 50 said what they was talking about what they said. Jim heard that. He came back and said that. Now motherfucking Cam, what you think Cam gonna do? Cam is a lyricist. He's gonna make you feel any type of stupidity way that's possible. If he's gonna say shit, basically kick you in your nuts. You know what I mean? He's gonna rip your heart out. Remember the old school when they was doing electric boogie and they grabbed the neck by the heart, pulled the heart, they just had it in their head, and bit the through it, stomped on the That's what you gonna hear. It's basically they's going back and forth. After that, like I said, it went to the money. That's the whole point of the situation. Yeah, he gonna say Jim is from the Bronx. Everybody else on the side, your group of niggas, be like, yeah, the peanut, he's a peanut gallery. They gonna make up all this shit to make sure to turn the peanuts into peanut butter and whip it into something else to make it all a whole bunch of different shit. Then my niggas is gonna talk about your feet and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, just to, like, that's everybody who's from Harlem got some family in the Bronx. Everybody who got some family in the Bronx got family in Harlem. Yeah, Jim is from the Bronx and he came to Harlem. You know what I'm saying?
After that, Jim tried to save face online, saying he was misquoted, but everyone had already seen the footage. There was no misquote. He said what he said. And instead of owning it, he started doubling down, posting cryptic messages on Instagram about real ones never needing validation. But by then, the damage was done. The wildest part is, this whole thing might have been avoided if Jim had just shown love instead of hate. Because truth be told, Harlem could have looked stronger together. Three legends from the same city, same era, still doing big things, that's legacy. But Jim seems addicted to the drama, like he'd rather argue about respect than earn it. Now fans are saying Mace and Cam have outgrown him entirely, that they're moving like businessmen while Jim's stuck moving like a bitter ex-friend who can't stop talking about what could have been.
But the thing about it is, you gotta understand the war. Like, Jim it's like battling. It's like rap. It's like motherfucking rap. Jim, whatever, but they wasn't. They was on platforms. And Jim said what he said. Jim, I think what he said, something about inviting him to his so he said he said they on my dick, right? That's something that's serious. Like, you hear that, you like, ooh, it's like Jim caught a ball. Oh.
Do you consider Jim a Harlem guy or no?
Jim basically was with Killer for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Cam already, you gotta understand, Jim had family in 1199 and Cam had family in 1199, and they both had family members over there. So that's how that connection went on, as far as, cause Bloodshed and everybody was over there. So that was the connection with that, as far as being First Avenue. First Avenue, they built up these condos called 1199, and Cam had family over there and Jim had family over there. So when Cam and Digger and Bloodshed was rocking, that was how Jim was able to make that connection, because Cam was going to First Ave and Jim had family on First Ave. You know what I'm saying? At a real young age. We was teenagers though, 14, 15, 16, somewhere in that area. You know what I'm saying?